What do you want from me? I'm just blood and flesh and bones. I'm not an answer.
Welcome to Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, the show where the Office of Military Affairs keeps you mildly entertained and more or less up to date on what's going on at UNCW. Your hosts are Joanna DeMott, the Military Liaison and Program Coordinator, and Melanie Nelson, the Military Student Services Specialist. Joanna, I hope you're having a great day today.
I am. How did you know?
Because you're always having a great day. You're remarkably consistent on that point. You're always having a great day.
I am consistently great. How are you today, Melanie?
I am likewise great. It's a lovely day. We taught a lovely version of the Green Zone training today on Zoom. We finally decided to just co-teach and it went swimmingly. It was really exciting to start our day off that way. So I'm having a great day.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm really excited. I think my day might be a little extra great today because we have Kat Pohlman, UNCW's Chief Sustainability Officer, here with us. How are you today, Kat?
I am great as well.
Ooh, triple great. Love it. I'm so intrigued by everything you do, and we will get into it. We will definitely get into it. I can see you in your living room here. How has your job changed since mid-March? Have you been back to campus? Are there any plans? What's going on?
Yeah, well, obviously, everything's gone virtual, and I've decided not to go back to my office. I can do everything from home, so I feel like it was my responsibility to do that. And I actually really like my home, so it might be hard to go back. The biggest change that I've had is with programming, because when you hold programs at the university, you might get a few people show up, and I've had a lot more participation when I can do it online. And then also being able to invite the community to things. Has been much easier, not that we didn't do it before, but, with parking and things like that. But another really interesting fact, and I don't know if y'all know this yet, so for the past 6 years, I have shared an office in environmental health and safety with 8 to 16 students at a time. So I've had about 150 square feet, and I'm actually moving into the military lounge. So I'm really excited to have a little bit more space, and I feel like the space already has good vibes in it. So we have that in common. So that's going to be really nice coming back to campus with that new 704 square feet.
That is quite an increase, 150 to 704. Yeah. And yes, it does have amazing vibes. I know they're packing up and ready to move to the new space, but it will feel fun to come visit you.
Yeah, you better. Absolutely. I know that we have a lot in common as well. So I'm sure we'll develop that in this conversation.
Absolutely. And Melanie's going to get right into figuring out how much we have in common now. And there's an awkward transition for you guys. Enjoy.
That was one of your best awkward transitions, like most awkwardest of awkward transitions so far. Love it. Okay, so a couple of things about sustainability. So I referenced our Green Zone training earlier. So for our 3.5 listeners, in case you've forgotten, Green Zone is when we work with faculty and staff to help them understand what military affiliated students are like and what their experience is like on campus, things like that. But I'm always a little bit concerned when people are signing up for the Green Zone training and Dare to Learn that they might not be paying attention to the description and that they might actually think that it's a sustainability training and be like, UNCW is a green zone, rainwater gardens and recycling and all the things for sustainability. And then they get in there and they're like, what have I signed up for? So I'm always a little concerned. Nobody so far has told me that that's a concern, but there are some people who are very quiet during these trainings who may just be trying to fly under the radar. So if that's you, listeners, it's okay. You can come forth and confess to us that wasn't what you were hoping for. But then stick around for the training because it's good for everybody. Anyway, the other thing is, yes, we are so excited that we will be turning over our space in Warwick Center to you guys. And here's how we are participating in sustainability. We're leaving some of our furniture for you. And we may just leave you some other goodies too that we don't feel like moving. So, that's how we're, the reuse part of the triangle there, the reduce, reuse, recycle. That's all I got to say. You're going to tell us more about all of that. But first, I need to know, what are you snacking on these days? You've mentioned that you like working from home a lot. what are you snacking on, and is it different from what you were snacking on when you were fighting for elbow room with all your students in your 150 square foot?
Is very different. So you might hate me for this, but my partner is actually a chef, and he's a very good businessman, and he does not bring his work home with him. So it went from him having cooked for me a handful of times in 2 years to me getting really nice meals every single day. So my life has changed a lot in that way. And we also ordered, kind of a sustainability plug here, we ordered a little toaster oven that also air fries. So I think my number one snack has been doing the fried cauliflower buffalo and dipping that in all sorts of different fun. He's the sauce boss, so he can make some really fun sauces. So I went from, you know, the really delicious food at Wagner to some good home cooking every day.
It's not a bad shift, honestly. And just think, soon you'll be next to the like #1 green, sustainable, sourced, blah, blah, blah stuff at the Dub Cafe. So that's exciting for you. We will sort of miss being able to pop over to Dub whenever we wanted to, but we're gonna be so much closer to Dunkin' Donuts that I'm just not that concerned about it. Once we're in Veterans Hall, Dunkin' Donuts will be, you know, a very short hop away. So yeah, well, good for you. I'm glad that you're using an air fryer. That's a wonderful innovation, a way that you're growing and learning during this time of the pandemic. We'd love to hear that. Here's a question for you. So you've already given us one thing that you don't miss, which is your 150 square foot office. But are there any other things, or I guess the way we ask the question is, what or whom do you not miss right now while you're teleworking? You don't have to take the bait. I see the look on your face. You don't have to take it. I put it out there. You can take it if you want to. We will help you through this conversation. It's fine. What or whom do you not miss right now while teleworking?
I prepared myself for this one a little bit. I listened to the podcast, and they're great. I'm very impressed. You know, besides the fact that the location was small, it was in the back of campus. So I don't really, I don't have that many people to miss just because we were so isolated. So I guess I honestly don't miss getting up and putting pants on. And that's my biggest, I love my job. I'm really lucky. I love campus. I've been there for a very long time. I graduated from UNCW, so there's a lot to miss about it, but I definitely don't mind. I'm glad this isn't smell-o-vision. I don't mind not like totally getting ready every morning and things like that, which is, I mean, I'm a little hippie, so here we are.
Excellent, excellent. I like how you have this. So you're one of those 3.5 people that we refer to when we talk about our listeners. Thank you for that. And yeah, good job on not taking the bait. I like how you dodged it very neatly by saying, we don't really see that many people anyway. That might change for you once you're in Warwick Center, just so you know, so be prepared. Okay, so since you're doing everything on Zoom these days, including this podcast, what are your pet peeves on Zoom?
Oh, every single part of it, mostly seeing my face. That's I like, I know I can turn it off, but then I'm thinking about what does my face look like. So it's either distraction or distraction, right? I was on a call last night, and there's about 40 of us. I won't name the call. And there's a lot of people that are just not very technologically savvy. And so I went through Zoom Bingo twice. Like, it was, you know, it's just not a great way to have efficient meetings with people who don't normally do this. But I have also found if you are running the meeting, you can easily give some easy directions that people can follow to make it a little bit more enjoyable, using, you know, the polls and the whiteboard and things like that. So I don't love it, but I feel like it'll develop, and hopefully we'll use it more in the future, because I don't mind teleworking, and I don't mind being able to have these awesome conversations with people across the country and seeing them. I just don't want to see me at the same time.
Yeah, Yeah. Something I've been realizing as we've been asking people this question, one of my major pet peeves on Zoom is that I talk with my hands a lot. And so I'm like waving and flinging and like my hands are a blur. And Joanna actually got a screenshot of me earlier in the pandemic where like I'm like waving both of my hands frantically and I just look like I have this, it's just crazy. And I feel like the talking with my hands is so much more effective in person than it is when I'm like sticking my arms out and you can't even like, all you can see right now is that I'm sticking my arms out. This is getting really awkward. I'm going to keep, and that's the whole problem, right? Is it's very awkward to take my real life personality into the virtual realm. Moving on, if you had to telework for the rest of your career, what would be the most important things for you to keep in mind?
Ooh, that's tough. Well, I do think we're losing a little bit of that personal touch, and it's easy, especially if you are fatigued in any way, whether it's Zoom fatigue or actual fatigue, to take things the wrong way. So I get a little sensitive, and I thought I had thicker skin than this, but I certainly have felt sensitive to people's reactions and things like that, and I just have to remind myself that, you know, we can't really see each other. So that's definitely one part. I also, one of the things I've done is I live for my dual screens on my computer. And so I've left those at the office. So I also have that to look forward to, but I need to have dual screens in order to be able to not go crazy doing many of my tasks. So that's kind of a boring answer, but it's just the truth.
It's important though, because like I went from single screen where I've always been comfortable and now I have dual screens, and since we're doing so many things on Zoom, I love it because I can have one window open with like all my notes and then one with the actual video screen. And I'm not sure, I may be like stealing one of our computer monitors from our students. When we go back, we have a handful of computers that are just for students, and I may just appropriate one of those monitors for myself. We don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Anyway.
You can get one from the surplus for free.
Yeah, exactly. Surplus is such a friend, right? I was going to say something about I don't remember. Joanna, over to you.
That was ultimately awkward, and I love it so much. And I'm going to make it even more awkward because I'm going to ask you a big question right off. This can be personal, it can be professional, but I'd like to know a little more about a passion of yours.
Yeah. Well, I grew up not knowing that I was just living sustainably. So that's not necessarily a passion. It's just what I fell into. But my passion actually nicely wraps up with sustainability. So I think it's actually resiliency. And this is a professional passion. Obviously, it kind of gets personal too. But in 1999, I guess, I was flooded in Hurricane Floyd. So, and my father was an emergency manager. And so now that I live in Wilmington and we constantly get hit by storms, whether those are hurricanes or tropical storms, you know, I just feel like we definitely could be better prepared for that. We have this hurricane hangover every time it happens, but we spend the year just being rightfully upset about the things that are going on, but we don't do a lot of preparation to make sure that the next one that hits, we won't be as affected. So I've been volunteering a lot for that kind of preparedness and trying to, especially if we get hit by a hurricane along with a pandemic at the same time, there's a lot of things that we need to really assess beforehand, how we're going to feed people, how people are going to evacuate if they don't have vehicles. Things of that nature. So that's really, honestly, that's been my passion for maybe the past 2 years now.
We're grateful for that. Being a transplant and not living in an area that's hit by hurricanes and tropical storms, I can feel that passion is very useful for us who aren't used to dealing with it. But I do feel like that we get this little hangover, but then it's always just business as usual. And maybe you see a post here and there about these are the things you should have, but the actual like how do we do this is kind of lost, and then all of a sudden it hits again and it's like we've never done this before. So that's great. Not that you were flooded out in Floyd, but that you've done something with that resiliency is something we talk about a lot in military affairs, and to use that and translate it over to hurricanes and tropical storms that's amazing. Yeah, great.
Thank you. And And yeah, and with sustainability, it's obviously like they go hand in hand. If you're thinking about those storms, they're only getting stronger because of, you know, increased carbon in the atmosphere and things like that. So they do definitely go together as well.
Excellent. Congratulations on being appointed to the City of Wilmington's Clean Energy Task Force. How's that going? What's going on with that?
It's going really well. I truly love our City of Wilmington people that are in sustainability and in the government and the way that they're supporting this. So that's really nice. Because Appalachian State is so ahead of the game when it comes to renewable energy, they're one of the best schools in the country for it. I have had an interest in it for a while. So I've been doing my casual research about what we can be doing at UNCW and in the community for a while. And actually that's part of resiliency, right? Like what if we could add renewable energy to the freezers so that we would have that, you know, freezer for perishable items without having to use the gas that we need to deliver those items, things of that nature. So that's really awesome. But I was actually put on the task force for transportation. So transportation and building energy usually go about hand in hand with how much they're affecting the environment. And a lot of people don't think about that, especially in our single occupancy vehicle lifestyle here in Wilmington. So that's going to be a really interesting group to be in, and the opportunities may have been overlooked in a lot of places in North Carolina. So I'm very excited for that, and I think we have a great team, so it's been really fun.
I'm really excited to see what you guys can do, and we've learned so much just, you know, interviewing people on the podcast, but also the opportunity for professional development that we've had here. And one of those things is we have different offices at UNCW, and I'm a rather new employee, just 1 year now. What are some misconceptions, some common misconceptions about what you do versus some of the other offices on campus?
Right. Well, I think the obvious misconception that everyone in my field that's not maybe on the West Coast is that sustainability is just about the environment. And if that were the case, it would be called environmental stewardship. Like, why would you call it sustainability? So sustainability really is finding the compromise between people, planet, and profit. So looking at social equity, environmental stewardship, and an economic vitality in every decision or action that you make. So while the past 6 years of my career have really been focused on bringing the environmental piece to the forefront, because that was the piece that no one else had really truly taken championship over. I think right now what we're seeing in our country and our culture is that it really does take all three pieces to make a strong community and a strong life for everyone. So I'm really sad by what's happening in our world right now, but I think it's actually illuminating how everything works together and how sustainability is truly important.
That global perspective is something I didn't have, so thank you so much for that. Is there anything coming up that you'd like to plug or anything new?
Well, we're working this summer on a sustainable office kind of program. So we have this program called Gold Talent Events, where you can actually make your event more sustainable or lower your footprint of your event. So we're taking that and kind of building an umbrella of gold talent things. So it'll be gold talent residence hall room, gold talent office, etc. But the office one's really fun because it's mostly things we're already doing that we don't give ourselves a pat on the back for. And so that's really exciting. And you know, we're doing the sustainabilities that you can sign up for Dare to Learn Academy. And specifically, I don't know how fast this turnaround is, but this week we're doing a feminine hygiene product drive. We are not actually, it's many other people, but we're supporting it. So that's really cool. And those will go to Hawks Harvest for students when they come back. So there's plenty going on. And if anyone wants to keep updated on those kind of things on a weekly basis, you can sign the sustainability pledge on our website and you can opt into a weekly newsletter.
Excellent.
Kind of a plug there, yeah.
That's always something. I knew Kat would be bringing something to the table. Always something amazing, for sure.
Thanks.
It has been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm going to get right on that newsletter. I love hearing all the stuff that you're doing. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, this is super impressive. Your website's all professional and everyone just has wonderful things to say. I can't believe how often you're able to pump this out.
Well, thank you for those kudos. It's just nice to be able to talk to lots of people from around campus and to help our students see all the work that's going on behind the scenes. And so if they see a little gold talon somewhere, that they know that there's something more to it than just somebody slapped a little sticker somewhere and said, this is a gold talon certified whatever. And you know, I think the idea that UNCW is aiming to be as sustainable as possible when we are such a big university in terms of like our square footage and how much land we actually occupy in Wilmington, and how many students and different offices we support and how many community partners we have, and pulling all that together into a real sustainable picture. I think that's really appealing to a lot of our students, in particular coming from the military, where, you know, when I deployed out to sea on a ship, we would suddenly become like pack rats, because if you're stuck out to sea, you might not be able to get all the things that you need. So how can you repurpose something or reuse it? Joanna has been watching Hoarders all summer, and this is what put me in mind of this, but like we used to save all kinds of little bits and bobs and whatever, and just keep them on hand in case we needed to use them again. And I know that there are other military affiliated, military connected people within our campus who are interested in this kind of stewardship, like you said. So it's really exciting that you were able to come and join us today. Thank you so much. And this has been an episode of Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, and we will see you on the internet.
Thank you for listening to Mildly Entertaining. Our intro music comes from the band Blue Turnip and their song, What Do You Want From Me? You can find their EP, Songs from the Root Cellar, on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. For more information, you can go to blueturnipmusic.com.